Hey everyone, get ready for New Year's Eve. I bet you are.
Always a busy time of year.
It is. We all know how it goes, right?
Yeah,
Parties, countdowns, too much champagne, maybe.
sounds about right.
Yeah. But what if this year you ditched all that and instead you focused on something else?
Hmm. Like what?
Something more intimate, something to boost your relationship, maybe increase your happiness as a couple.
It is interesting how we always think of New Year's Eve as this big party.
Yeah.
But you're right, there's a real opportunity to think about things differently.
You could go deeper,
Exactly, like strengthening that connection with your partner. That's something to celebrate.
for sure. And you know what? We found some really interesting sources that talk about just that. Some surprisingly romantic ways to spend New Year's Eve with your significant other.
Oh, like what?
Well, for starters, they talk about looking at New Year's Eve as a chance to renew your relationship.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, not just yourself, but your relationship.
Right, kind of like a fresh start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, think about that classic New Year's Eve tradition. The midnight kiss.
Yeah.
Everyone does it. But it can be more than just a fun tradition.
Really? I've always just thought of it as a fun thing to do.
Yeah. But think about it. It can be like a powerful symbol.
Oh, okay.
Starting fresh, recommitting to each other, stepping into the new year together.
I like that. It's almost like taking all that excitement, all that energy of the countdown, and putting it into your relationship.
That's a great way to think about it.
Thanks. Our sources also mention this idea of romantic resolutions.
Romantic resolutions.
Yeah, is that just like a fancy way of saying couples should set goals together?
Well, kind of, but it's more than that.
Okay.
It's about choosing goals that are specifically about your relationship,
Fine.
not just individual things you want to do.
So like planning a trip together.
Exactly. Or maybe learning a new skill together.
Okay, I'm seeing the difference now.
There was this study. It found that couples who set goals together, they actually reported feeling closer. Yeah. They were more satisfied with their relationships than couples who just focused on individual goals.
So it's not just about checking things off a list.
Yeah.
It's about the experience you share together.
Exactly. And you know what? Even just the act of setting those goals together can be really good for you.
How so?
Well, you have to talk to each other. You have to figure out what you both want. You have to compromise.
Right, good communication, teamwork.
Exactly. It's like you're creating this roadmap for happiness together right from the very beginning of the
Believe
year.
about that. But let's be real. Life can get pretty crazy.
For sure.
So how are couples supposed to actually find the time for all this romantic stuff?
Yeah, that's a good point. But don't worry, our sources have some advice on that too.
Okay, good.
One expert, a relationship expert, she suggested scheduling regular date nights.
Date nights?
Yeah, even if it's just for an hour a week. Just dedicated time to work towards those shared goals.
I see. So it's really about making your relationship a priority.
Exactly. Even when things get busy, you can still find time for each other.
And, I think that's a really important takeaway for our listeners. It doesn't have to be these big, grand gestures. It's the small things you do consistently that really make a difference.
Absolutely. Little steps add up over time.
Exactly. And that reminds me of something else our sources talked about, personalized gestures.
Personalized gestures on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's all about tapping into what makes your partner feel loved, making them feel appreciated.
Okay, I like where this is going.
So instead of that typical dinner and a movie,
Yeah,
we need to think outside the box.
I see. Get creative.
Yes. Like, one of our sources mentioned this couple who recreated their first date.
Oh, that's cute.
I know, right? On New Year's Eve, they said it brought back so many happy memories. And they felt closer than they had in a long time.
Wow, see? It's the thought that counts.
Exactly. It's about those little things that have meaning for your relationship.
Yeah.
Our sources also talked about inside jokes or personal stories. Maybe even making a playlist of songs that remind you of your journey together.
It's about creating your own little world. Just for the two of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes the simplest things are the most powerful.
Right, like just writing a letter to your partner.
A letter.
Yeah. Tell them how much you appreciate them, what you love about them, your hopes for the future together.
Oh, wow. That would be so much more meaningful than a store-bought card.
Totally. And it doesn't even have to be a letter. It could be a small gift. Something that shows you know them, or even cooking their favorite meal.
It's all about putting in the effort,
Yeah.
making them feel special.
Exactly.
Speaking of effort, have you ever, completely bombed a romantic gesture?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell me about it.
Oh, man. This one time, It involved roses, a singing telegram, and a very confused pizza delivery guy.
Oh, no. What happened?
Let's just say my partner appreciated the thought, but the execution, not so much.
Oh, dear. I can only imagine. But hey, at least you tried.
That's true. And it actually brings up a really important point from our sources.
What's that?
Being flexible, adaptable when it comes to your New Year's Eve plans.
Yeah, because things don't always go as planned, do they?
Nope. Real life rarely goes according to plan.
Right. Things happen, work emergencies, family stuff, last-minute changes.
Exactly. And that's when you need to be able to adapt, to problem solve together.
It's like a team effort.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
One of our sources actually said that couples who can handle those unexpected challenges with humor and teamwork, they actually end up stronger because of it.
So instead of stressing out when things go wrong, we should look at it as an opportunity to grow closer.
Yeah. Embrace the unexpected. Make it work together.
Like maybe your fancy dinner reservation gets messed up, but you end up having a romantic picnic at home instead.
Exactly. Or maybe you miss the countdown because of traffic. But you have the best conversation ever in the car.
It's about focusing on the connection, not the circumstances.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So the most important ingredient for a happy New Year's Eve isn't the perfect plan. It's the person you're with.
Absolutely. And you know what? There's another fascinating thing our sources talked about that I think we should dive into.
Okay, I'm all ears.
It's about incorporating cultural traditions into your New Year's Eve celebration.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about that. It sounded really interesting.
It is. Think about it. Every culture has its own unique way of celebrating the new year.
That's true.
Some have special foods, others have certain rituals or activities.
Right. And by trying some of these traditions, you're not just learning something new, you're also creating a more meaningful experience for both of you.
Exactly. It's like expanding your horizons as a couple right from your own home.
I like that. And one of the sources, an anthropologist who studies cultural rituals, he said that sharing these traditions can help you connect on a deeper level.
That makes sense.
It allows you to tap into your heritage, share stories about your family, maybe even creating new traditions that blend your cultures together.
It's about unity through diversity.
You're right.
I love that.
Do you have any examples of traditions that couples could try?
Sure. In Spain, they eat 12 grapes at midnight, one for each month of the year, for good luck.
Oh, wow. That sounds fun.
And in Greece, they bake a special cake called Vasilopita. It has a coin hidden inside. Whoever finds the coin is supposed to have good luck in the new year.
Ooh, I like that one too. It's making me think about all the different ways we could add a little global flair to our own New Year's Eve.
Yeah. It's about broadening our definition of romance.
Exactly. There's no one right way to do it. It's about finding traditions that resonate with you as a couple
Yeah,
and making them your own.
perfectly said. It's like adding a new layer to your relationship, one tradition at a time.
And speaking of adding layers, I think we should talk about something else our sources highlighted, the importance of reflection on New Year's Eve.
Oh, yes. That's crucial. Even amidst all the celebrating, you need to make time to look inward.
Take a pause.
Exactly,
Yeah.
individually, and as a couple.
It's like hitting that pause button on the party
Yeah.
and really thinking about where you've been, where you are now, and where you want to go.
That's a great way to put it.
Hmm.
One of our sources, a couples therapist, he talked about creating a safe space for open and honest communication on New Year's Eve.
A safe space.
Yeah, where you can talk about your individual journeys, share your accomplishments and challenges, acknowledge your growth over the past year.
So it's not just about setting goals for the future, it's also about appreciating how far you've come, both as individuals and as a couple.
Exactly. Celebrate your successes, big or small. Acknowledge the lessons learned from the tough times. It's all part of your story.
Like looking back on the chapters that have already been written in your love story and getting ready to write new ones together.
Beautifully said. And as we're talking about love stories, I'm reminded of something else our sources talked about, expressing gratitude.
Gratitude on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it's such a powerful emotion, especially in relationships.
I can see that.
There was a study, it found that couples who regularly show gratitude towards each other, they have stronger relationships, more intimacy, more commitment.
Wow. So how can couples express gratitude on New Year's Eve? Do our sources have any tips?
They do. One source suggested a simple exercise. Take some time to write down all the things you're grateful for about your partner and the things you appreciate about your relationship. Then share them with each other. You can read them out loud or exchange written notes.
That's a great idea. It's like a tangible reminder of all the good things in your relationship, something you can both cherish.
Exactly. And you don't have to limit it to writing. You can show gratitude through words, actions, little gestures.
Like what?
Maybe you surprise them with their favorite dessert,
Yeah.
or give them a heartfelt compliment, or even just a long hug.
It's about finding those little ways to show your appreciation.
Right. Reinforce the positive aspects of your relationship.
And you know what? Speaking of reinforcing positivity, it makes me think about those romantic resolutions we were talking about earlier.
Ah, yes, those shared goals.
Yeah,
All about boosting your happiness as a couple.
right. And I think it's so important to approach those resolutions with optimism, with excitement, not like it's a chore.
I agree. Choose goals that inspire you both, things you actually look forward to doing together.
And if you hit a roadblock along the way, just remember it's all part of the journey.
It is. Support each other. Celebrate the little wins. And never forget the bigger picture.
And just
Creating
currently,
a happier, more fulfilling relationship.
couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
It's all about growth,
Yeah.
resilience, unwavering love.
You got it. And speaking of fostering positivity and resilience, I came across this amazing book recently. I think our listeners would really enjoy it.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's called Happiness Mantra.
Happiness mantra?
Yeah, it's all about finding joy, gratitude, inner peace, even when things are tough. And guess what? It's 50% off right now.
Wow. That's a steal. I might have to check that out myself. It sounds like the perfect way to start the new year with a fresh perspective.
Definitely. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are your final thoughts for our listeners on how they can create a truly special New Year's Eve? One that's focused on love, connection, and joy. I think it all comes down to this
What's that?
intentionality.
Intentionality.
Yeah.
Go.
It's about choosing to make New Year's Eve, about deepening your connection with your partner, not just going through the motions.
So it's not just about what you do, but why you do it.
Exactly. Ask yourself, are you choosing activities that you both truly enjoy? Are you making time for those heart-to-heart conversations? Are you expressing your gratitude? Are you approaching the evening with an open heart, ready for anything?
It's about creating that atmosphere of love and connection right from the start.
Precisely. And, one thing we often forget is the importance of simply being present with each other.
Being present.
Yeah, put the phones away. Disconnect from the outside world. Just focus on the person you're with.
That's so important these days.
It is. Create a little bubble of intimacy just for the two of you.
I love that our sources also talk about setting the mood.
Yes. The mood is everything.
Any tips on how to do that?
Well, think about what makes you feel romantic. Maybe it's soft lighting candles, a cozy fire. Maybe it's music, a playlist of songs that mean something to you both.
It's like turning your home into a love nest, just for one night.
Exactly. And don't forget about touch. Holding hands, cuddling, dancing, those little things can make a big difference.
It's all about those small, intimate moments that make you feel loved and cherished.
You said it. Romance isn't always about the grand gestures. Sometimes it's the little things that matter most.
And before we move on, I just want to emphasize one thing.
What's that?
The magic of New Year's Eve doesn't have to end at midnight.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, you can carry that feeling of renewal, connection, and tension into the new year.
Keep the momentum going.
Exactly. Make a commitment to prioritize your relationship. Schedule those date nights. Keep talking to each other.
Make every day feel a little bit like New Year's Eve in the best possible way.
Yes. Keep the spark alive. Keep nurturing your love, and never stop looking for those little moments of joy and connection.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Thanks. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we'll be diving into even more tips and tricks for creating a truly unforgettable New Year's Eve celebration.
Can't wait. So sharing these traditions can be a really cool way to connect on a deeper level. It's like you're tapping into your heritage, sharing stories from your family history, maybe even creating new traditions together.
Yeah, blending the best of both worlds.
Exactly. And it's funny, thinking about traditions, it reminded me of this one time.
Oh, what happened?
Well, it was New Year's Eve, and I thought it would be super romantic to surprise my partner with a dozen roses. The classic.
Yeah, roses are always nice.
Right. So I had this whole plan. I was going to have them delivered during dinner, along with a singing telegram.
A singing telegram. Wow, you went all out.
I did. I thought it would be hilarious and memorable. But, well, the telegram singer got lost and ended up at the wrong restaurant.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then the roses, they got delivered to our house. But we weren't home yet. So the pizza delivery guy ended up signing for them.
Oh my gosh, what a mess.
It was. My partner thought it was funny, though,
At
eventually.
least you can laugh about it now.
That's for sure. But you know what? It actually ties into something really important that our sources talk about.
Okay. You
Being
observe?
flexible,
Flexible.
yeah, adaptable
Yeah.
when it comes to your New Year's Eve plans.
Oh, right. Because things don't always go as planned.
Exactly. Life rarely goes according to script.
No, doesn't. There are always surprises, work emergencies, family obligations, last-minute changes.
All the time. And that's where the ability to adapt, to problem solve together really comes in handy.
So it's a test of your teamwork skills.
You could say that one of our sources, she said that couples who can navigate those unexpected challenges with a sense of humor and with teamwork, they actually come out stronger on the other side.
Wow. So instead of getting stressed out when things go wrong, you should look at it as an opportunity to grow closer.
Exactly. Embrace the unexpected. Make it work together.
I like that. So like, even as your fancy dinner reservation falls through, maybe you end up having a more romantic picnic at home instead.
Exactly. Or maybe you miss the countdown because you're stuck in traffic, but you have the most amazing conversation in the car. It's about focusing on the connection, not the circumstances.
That's such a good point. Sometimes the best memories come from those unplanned moments.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners. Remember, the most important thing is who you're with, not what you're doing.
So true. And, speaking of important things, our sources also talk about New Year's Eve as a time for reflection.
Yes. Reflection is so crucial, even amidst all the fun and celebration.
It's like taking a moment to pause, to look back on the year, think about where you've been, where you are,
Yeah,
where you want to go.
exactly. One of our sources, a renowned couples therapist, he emphasized the importance of creating a safe and supportive space for communication on New Year's Eve.
Communication. That's key in any relationship.
It is. He said it's a chance to discuss your individual journeys, share your accomplishments and challenges, acknowledge your growth over the past year, both individually and as a couple.
So it's not just about setting goals for the future. It's about appreciating how far you've come, celebrating your successes, acknowledging the lessons learned.
Exactly. And I think that ties back to what we were talking about earlier, about creating a shared history.
Right. Like writing the chapters of your love story together.
That's beautiful. And speaking of love stories, I'm reminded of something else that came up in our sources, the importance of expressing gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
On New Year's Eve.
Yeah. It might seem simple, but it's so powerful,
That's true.
especially when it comes to relationships.
I could see that.
There's this fascinating study. It found that couples who regularly express gratitude toward each other, they experience higher levels of relationship satisfaction, intimacy, and commitment.
Wow. So how can couples do that? Express gratitude on New Year's Eve? Do our sources have any suggestions?
They do. One source recommended a really simple exercise.
Okay, I'm listening.
Take some time to write down all the things you're grateful for about your partner.
Okay, like a gratitude list.
Exactly. And also write down the things you appreciate about your relationship, then share those lists with each other.
Ah, that's sweet.
You can read them aloud or exchange written notes. It's up to you.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's a nice way to remind each other of all the good things, all the reasons why you're together.
exactly. And it doesn't have to be limited to writing. You can express gratitude through words, actions, small gestures.
Like what kind of gestures?
Well, maybe you surprise your partner with their favorite dessert, or you offer a heartfelt compliment, or you just give them a long, loving hug.
It's about finding those little ways to show your appreciation, to reinforce the positive aspects of your relationship.
Precisely. And speaking of positivity, it brings you back to something you mentioned earlier. Those romantic resolutions.
Oh, yeah. Those shared goals.
Right. The ones that are all about boosting your happiness as a couple.
And I think it's so important to approach those resolutions with a positive attitude, with excitement, not like it's a chore.
I agree. Choose goals that inspire you both. Things you genuinely look forward to working towards together.
And if you encounter setbacks along the way,
Don't give up. Just remember that it's all part of the journey.
support each other, celebrate the small victories, and never lose sight of the big picture,
Exactly. Which is,
creating a happier, more fulfilling relationship together.
you got it. It's about fostering a mindset of growth, resilience, unwavering love.
Beautiful. And speaking of fostering positivity and resilience, there's this amazing book I stumbled upon recently.
Oh, tell me more.
It's called Happiness Mantra.
Happiness mantra.
Yeah, it's all about cultivating joy, gratitude, and inner peace. even amidst life's challenges.
Sounds right up our alley.
It is. And guess what? It's 50% off right now.
Wow, that's a steal. I might have to pick up a copy
Well,
myself.
too. It sounds like the perfect read for anyone looking to start the new year on a positive note.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are your final thoughts on how our listeners can create a truly special New Year's Eve, one that's centered around love, connection, and joy?
I think it really comes down to intentionality.
Intentionality. Yeah, it's about making a conscious decision to make New Year's Eve, about deepening your connection with your partner, not just going through the motions.
So it's not just about what you do, but the why behind it.
Exactly. Are you choosing activities that you both genuinely enjoy? Are you making time for those meaningful conversations? Are you expressing your gratitude? Are you approaching the evening with an open heart, ready to embrace whatever comes your way?
It's about creating that atmosphere of love and connection right from the start.
Precisely. And, sometimes we forget how important it is to simply be present with each other. Put away the phones, disconnect from the outside world, and just focus on the person you're with.
Create a little bubble of intimacy, just for the two of you.
Exactly. And our sources also talked about the importance of setting the mood.
The mood, yes, that's essential.
It is. Think about what creates a sense of romance for you as a couple. Maybe it's soft lighting candles, a cozy fireplace. Maybe it's putting on some music, creating a playlist of songs that have special meaning for your relationship.
Transforming your space into a love nest, even if it's just for one night.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of touch. Holding hands, cuddling on the couch, sharing a slow dance, those physical gestures can really enhance that feeling of closeness and connection.
It's a reminder that romance isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's the small, intimate moments that make you feel truly loved and cherished.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to emphasize that the magic of New Year's Eve doesn't have to end at midnight.
Ooh, I like that. Keep the magic going.
Exactly. Carry that feeling of renewal connection and intentionality into the new year. Make a commitment to prioritize your relationship. Schedule those regular date nights. Keep those lines of communication open.
Make every day feel a little bit like New Year's Eve.
Exactly. Keep the spark alive. Keep nurturing your love and never stop looking for those little moments of joy and connection.
That's a wonderful thought to end on. Thank you so much for sharing all these amazing insights with us today.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
I know I'm feeling inspired to create a truly special and meaningful New Year's Eve with my partner.
Me too. And remember, whether you're recreating your first date, trying out a new cultural tradition, or simply cuddling up on the couch and reflecting on the year gone by, the most important thing is the love you share.
So well said. And to all our listeners out there, we wish you a happy, healthy, and love-filled New Year. May your celebrations be full of joy, laughter, and a renewed sense of connection with those you love.
Cheers to that. And if you're looking for even more inspiration on cultivating happiness in your relationship and in life, don't forget about that book we mentioned, Happiness Mantra. It's 50% off right now.
Great reminder. We'll be sure to include a link in the show notes. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep the love alive, and here's to a wonderful new year.
Intentionality. It's about making a conscious choice, to make New Year's Eve about deepening your connection with your partner. It's not about just going through the motions.
Not just going through the motions. I like that. So it's not just about what you do, but why you do it.
Exactly. It's about asking yourself, are we choosing things we both really enjoy? Are we making time for those important conversations? Are we expressing our gratitude?
Yeah.
Approaching the evening with an open heart, ready for anything.
Yeah, creating that atmosphere of love and connection right from the beginning.
Exactly. And something that's easy to forget, the importance of just being present with each other.
Being present.
Yeah, put those phones away. Disconnect from the outside world. Just focus on each other.
That's so important. It's like creating that little bubble of intimacy.
Yeah.
Just for the two of you. And you know what else? I remember our sources talked about setting the mood too.
The mood. Yes. That's so important.
It is. Do you have any tips for that?
Well, think about what makes you feel romantic. Maybe it's soft lighting candles, a fireplace. Or maybe it's music, a playlist of songs that mean something to you as a couple.
It's like you said, creating a love nest.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for one night.
Exactly. And don't forget about touch, holding hands, cuddling, dancing. Those physical connections can make a big difference.
Right. It's a reminder that romance isn't always about the big gestures. Sometimes it's those small moments, those intimate moments that make you feel loved.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to remember the magic of New Year's Eve doesn't have to end at midnight.
Ooh, I like that. Tell me more.
It's about taking that feeling of renewal, that connection, that intentionality, and carrying it with you into the new year.
Keep the momentum going.
Exactly. Make a commitment to prioritize your relationship. Schedule those date nights. Keep talking to each other.
Make every day feel a little bit like New Year's Eve.
Yes. Keep the spark alive. Keep nurturing your love. And never stop looking for those moments of joy and connection.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all these incredible insights with us today.
It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed our conversation.
I know I'm feeling really inspired to create a special New Year's Eve with my partner, one that's full of meaning and connection.
Me too. And remember, whether you're recreating your first date, trying a new tradition, or just cuddling up and reflecting on the year, the most important thing is the love you share.
That's so true. And to all our listeners out there, we wish you a happy, healthy, and love-filled New Year. May your celebrations be full of joy, laughter, and a renewed sense of connection with your loved ones.
Cheers to that. And hey, don't forget about that book we mentioned, Happiness Mantra. It's 50% off right now. If you're looking for more ways to cultivate happiness in your life and relationships, give it a read.
Great reminder. We'll be sure to leave a link in the show notes. Until next time, keep diving deep, keep the love alive, and here's to a wonderful new year.